A second lawsuit has been filed in connection with big changes at Kentucky State University in Frankfort. A group of anonymous students claims the legislature's approval to turn KSU into a polytechnic institution violate the state constitution. The General Assembly approved and Governor Beshear signed into law sweeping changes, including trimming KSU's academic choices to focus on science and technology. The changes were seen as a move to avoid closing the school, which is Kentucky's only historically black university.
We became convinced that now was not the time to explore a closure of Kentucky State, but rather to be a partner in the redefinition of this institution and what it can mean for the Commonwealth.
I know the discussion in the beginning was very heated, but we have found a way to move forward.
It's the second lawsuit that's been filed since Senate Bill 185 was signed into law. The other suit was filed in federal court earlier this month. Late Thursday, the KSU Board of Regents approved the new academic plan that establishes a 5-year transition to a polytechnic university focus. All right, well, let's jump right on in, and we are going to start with you, Representative Bray, on this. The real question at hand here is more procedural. I think, the first suit really about civil rights, but this is a more technical one, and the assumption being that the adoption of the title amendment with the emergency clause happening after the vote on the bill in the Senate. Now, I know neither of you are in the Senate for good or for ill, but talk to me about, does that have any merit?
To be honest, that's one the courts are going to have to figure out. Like you said, we weren't there when they had adopted any of that on the Senate side. I am disappointed to see them kind of fighting the change to KSU because, I mean, as it is right now, it's not solvent. There need to be major changes. It continuously loses money. There's a lot of state taxpayer money that goes into KSU just to keep it where it is. I felt like the bill was a good opportunity to kind of reinvest and maybe reinvigorate KSU, and it is disappointing to see it, it being challenged in court.
Sure. Representative Moore, your take?
Similar to what Representative Bray was saying, it's just not solvent right now. And so I think the most important thing is that Kentucky State University continues to exist as a 4-year public HBCU. Now, there are so many people who've gone through that university and has changed their lives, and so they care and they're passionate about it. And I think that's where it comes from. And it doesn't mean that they're misguided, it just means that they care about it and they want to make sure that it carries on in a way that that vision holds true in their heart from their own experiences from it in their community. We were able to, in the budget this year, when we passed it, we made sure that KSU was one of the few universities that had no cuts in the budget. There were a lot of cuts in the state government budget this year. It's just a tighter year, but we actually prevented any cuts to KSU. And I do think the changes that we made to Senate Bill 185 from the original version are going to put on a footing to succeed in the future. Dr. Akupo, the president there, I know he's worked with us. Anytime any of us call him, he comes to our offices. We are trying to do everything we can to make sure the university stays on its feet. But there's kind of growing pains with any change, and this is a change. We're talking about a 5-year transition, and it can be a little bit hard to swallow. And so people have every right to go the judicial route and go that system. And so we'll see what the lawsuits do shake out of that. But I do think this was necessary to keep that university open and serve that population here in Kentucky.
Okay. So let's move back to you. What do you think this means for the future of KSU, both the suits and the shift, the approval of the programming for the Polytechnic? I mean,
I think the courts are inevitably going to have to decide, whether this very small technical procedural issue is an actual issue.
What is a title amendment? Tell our folks, what is a title amendment?
So a title amendment is if we've got a bill that we want to put into effect as soon as the governor signs it or as soon as we override the governor's veto, you can make it an emergency. And so the title amendment, all it does is it'll say an act relating to KSU and declaring an emergency. And all that does is instead of it taking place like the 1st of July, it just lets it take place as soon as it's signed or the veto's overridden. But the real crux of the issue is if we don't do something to change the course KSU's on, it's going to have to close. The majority of students at KSU are from out of state, and we're using Kentucky taxpayer money to educate out-of-state students by majority, and it's currently losing money. I mean, something has to change. And so I had high hopes that this was a solution to help reinvigorate it, to make it financially stable. So we'll just have to wait and see how the courts rule on it.
Yeah, certainly. Last thoughts, final thoughts here?
Yeah, there were a lot of concerns with the changes. Would current students be kicked out? Would they lose the access to complete a degree in their major? And those were worked out that no one's getting kicked out. Those on scholarships had the ability to retain or reapply for their scholarships. Those who were pursuing a degree that may not fall into one of those 10 that's going to be put into the curriculum as far as a polytechnic are going to be able to complete that degree. It's really important that we met those needs.
Great. Well, we're going to have to leave it right there, but we still have more ahead this